Jesus. I gotta get out of here. If only there was someone here who could help me escape.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, thank Dad, the Terminator's here to save me!
Get to the chopper!
Alright, Arnold, but I don't hear a chopper. I mean, we're in a dungeon, there's no sky, so how do I get to the chopper?
Hasta la vista, baby.
No, wait, Terminator, please don't go. Please don't leave me here.
Two-Bit.
Wait, no!
Wakey bakey, Two-Bit! Get up!
You know, you really didn't have to knock me out with that cattle prodder. Man, that gave me some weird dreams.
Really? What kind of dreams?
Why the hell would I tell you?
Come on, Two-Bit. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Besides, I have my hand on the gas valve.
Okay, alright, I'll tell you. I was dreaming I was in a Terminator movie.
Terminator? I love those movies. Especially Terminator 2. Judgment Day.
Huh, you're right. They were pretty good. Though too bad the games based on the movies weren't as good.
What? No. Have you played Terminator 2 on NES? It's like the best.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the worst games. I remember coming home as a child from the rental store so excited to play Terminator 2 for the NES, only to find out that I had wasted my time and money on that shitty LJN title.
No. You were just a kid back then. You didn't understand LJN's brilliance. It's a game that encompasses beat-em-ups and run-and-gun platforming and shoot-em-ups. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think I own a copy. Wait right here. I'll be back.
I hope you're not thinking what I think you're thinking. Please no, anything but that!
Yeah, here you go.
Whoa! Was that necessary?
You must review this game, or you will be terminated. Get down! Go now, you must go! Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day for the NES is a side-scrolling platformer, beat-em-up, and shoot-em-up published by LJN and developed by Software Creations. It was released in 1991 to coincide with a theatrical movie release of the same name. This game would later be ported to the Sega Master System and Game Gear. That version was published by Flying Edge. The movie Terminator 2 had a huge marketing blitz. There are a ton of iterations of this game, whether it be on the arcade or the 16-bit systems SNES and Genesis. It's a lot to look at, and that's why we are solely focusing on the NES version of T2 Judgment Day. Now that we got these lack of tidbits out of the way, let's terminate this review. Now, I know LJN's reputation for making shoddy control mechanics, but T2's controls are actually very responsive and fluid. It's their application that's done poorly. Most levels have you exploring a fixed area and give you an objective either by defeating an X amount of enemies or collecting an X amount of items. You have the ability to jump and platform and punch enemies, and later you get a weapon to use, but with a catch. Following the movie's story, the game will punish you if you kill enemies. You must incapacitate them by shooting them in the knees. This brings a big challenge in later levels when you're timed and have to rush through. Going back to the beat-em-up side of the game, it's pure button mashing, and even the weakest enemies take forever to kill. Your thumb will be exhausted by the end of these portions of the game. Speaking of health and being tough to kill, you're rather easy to kill, and it takes little to no time at all to bring your health down. This is very unfair given that the weakest enemy takes forever to kill, but it takes them almost no time at all to destroy you. I mean, you're the freaking Terminator! It should be the opposite until you meet up with a T-1000. Who is the toughest character in the game? He will hound you throughout the game and even respawns after you defeat him. so until you reach the end of the game, it's best to avoid them so you can conserve ammo. Speaking of that final fight with the T-1000, it has a nice tie-in to the movie, as the only way to defeat the T-1000 is to push him into the molten steel. The second level differs greatly from the rest of the game. This is where I died a lot in the game, as there's a lot going on. You have to avoid obstacles, you have to shoot the big rig to keep it at bay, and then you have to shoot the gates open. I would also say, in retrospective, probably this level was the most fun I had in the game. At the same time, also the most frustrated I was in the game. There is little to no platforming in the majority of the game. It feels more like a beat 'em up or run and gun until you get to the final level, which is nothing but platforming, except for the T-1000. He is the only enemy in the final level, and the rest of it's just platforming and avoiding hazards. It really feels either rushed and incomplete, or just slapped together without a care. While the controls are responsive and work fairly well, the rest of the gameplay is messy and poorly executed. The game can't make up its mind on what it wants to be. The first level is like a beat 'em up, the second a shoot 'em up, the third and fourth a run and gun, and the final level is a platformer. Had all these been executed well, I may have been able to look past this game's schizophrenia on gameplay, but this game executes all these play types either in a mediocre fashion or very poorly. So in summation, Terminator 2's gameplay gets 1 bit
Hasta la vista, baby.
out of 4. Terminator 2's soundtrack is rather bland. I like Stage 2's theme, but for the most part, the songs aren't terrible, but they are rather bland and really just background noise. The sound effects now, they sound like a wet fart in church. The ones that do work sound like reused assets from previous LJN titles, like the melted steel from the final level sounds suspiciously like the waves from TNC Surf. My final score for Terminator 2 sound is a failing grade of 1 bit
Hasta la vista, baby.
out of 4. Presentation is another mixed bag for this title. The game mostly has either a black or gray background. There isn't a whole lot of color here to help the sprites and the environment pop out at you. Now, level design is not terrible, but also not very exciting. The plot is where this game shines, as it follows the movie's story rather well, touching on all the important plot points of the film. You play, of course, the one celebrity I've referenced the most here on the 2-Bit Review, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is the Terminator sent back in time to protect John Connor, a bratty kid who will one day become the savior of the world from the machines that rose up in rebellion to man. In the game, you protect John Connor and his mom from the T-1000, a superior Terminator, while also helping the Connors destroy Cyberdyne, the company responsible for creating Skynet, the original machine that eventually rebels against humanity. The game's ending actually matches up quite well with the iconic ending scene from the movie. Terminator 2's presentation may be the high point of this review, but it still has a low grade with dull colors and graphics. Its one high point is its sticking faithfully to the events of the movie, but that's not enough to push it beyond the other troubles this game is suffering. I give Terminator 2's presentation 1 bit
Hasta la vista, baby.
out of 4. Terminator 2 Judgment Day for the NES is a mediocre game, and I would say it's not good, or it's not so bad that it's good. It's just go away, and what I mean by that is I don't ever care to play this game again. I remember renting this game as a kid and enjoying it because I love the Terminator, but once I picked it up again without the nostalgia glasses on, I see a game that is trying to be many things, but at the same time not putting any effort in the execution of what it's trying to accomplish. My final verdict for Terminator 2 Judgment Day on the NES is a recommended ignore and run away for the casual and hardcore collector of the NES. It's really not worth your time unless you just like playing really bad games, or you're looking to fill that empty spot on your shelf and game catalog. And for you guys, you can find it online for around $2 to $6 depending on where you look. That's it for this review, guys. As always, let the authorities know I'm being held against my will!
2-Bit, very disappointed in you, 2-Bit. That review was not very pleasing.
I'm not gonna lie just to stroke your overinflated ego. I may have to review what you tell me to, but a review is sacred and must be honest no matter what.
Well, I'm glad to see you still have your integrity, but don't worry. That's not gonna last much longer. Now why don't you go ahead and do the outro?
No, let me out of here right now! I did the damn review, I did the last one, let me go see my family!
You still haven't learned, have you, 2-Bit? I'm your family now. Stay safe and play on.